What's up, y'all? Brandon with BC Talks here. January is coming to an end, so that means we are finally going to start getting some actual good movies. Now, the strikes really had a big impact on the production and release schedule for 2024 and 2025. A lot of movies that were supposed to come out last year, towards the end of last year, got pushed to this year, like Dune Part 2, and a lot of movies that were in production to come out this year got pushed to 2025. So even though the release schedule is a little messed up, we still have a ton of great movies that are supposed to come out this year. And today I am going to be talking about my most anticipated. Before we get into it, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel for more comic book and pop culture talk. Also, there are not going to be any comic book or superhero movies on this list because I made a dedicated video for comic book and superhero movies, which you can find on the channel, and I will link it somewhere up at the top of this video as well. So if you're looking for my thoughts on like Deadpool 3 or Joker 2 or Madam Web, if you're one of the three people that are excited for that movie, you can find those in that video. Now, also, I am not going to be doing like a top 10 or a ranking in this video. It's just going to be my most anticipated in order of release date. So, first up, coming in February on Valentine's Day, is Bob Marley One Love. Now, this movie is directed by Ronaldo Marcus Green, who directed the Oscar winning King Richard movie with Will Smith about the Williams sisters. And it also stars Kingsley Ben-Adir as Bob Marley. Now, I am a Jamaican, well, part Jamaican anyway. My grandma is from Jamaica. And she immigrated here in the 70s, and my grandfather is from Guyana, so I'm West Indian. So as a West Indian, I'm and a Bob Marley fan, a huge Bob Marley fan. I am really looking forward to this movie. When I saw the trailer last year, I was super hyped, and I got really excited when I saw that Kingsley Ben-Adir is going to be playing Bob Marley. Now, Kingsley Ben-Adir obviously is not Jamaican, but I think that at least from what we've seen in the trailer, he's doing a really great job at impersonating the mannerisms and the speech patterns of Bob Marley. Kingsley Ben-Adir is a really great actor. If you're not familiar with him, as a comic book fan, he was in the Secret Invasion Marvel Disney Plus series, and he was the only watchable part of that series, really. That series was not that great, but he did a really great job in his character. He does a really great job, like I said, of conveying emotion and expressing emotions. And also just the way like his cadence and the way that he speaks, he does a really great job. And from the trailers, he's doing a really great job, like I said, of kind of matching the mannerisms and cadence and speech pattern of Bob Marley, both singing in the concerts and speaking as well. So I'm really looking forward to Kingsley Ben-Adir as Bob Marley. At the very least, we know that if the movie is not good, he is going to do a good job as Bob Marley. So, but either way, I am really looking forward to this movie. And again, that's coming up here in a couple weeks on Valentine's Day. Next up is my most anticipated movie of the year. That is Dune Part 2, which is set to release March 1st. Now, this is one of the movies that got affected by the strikes. As I said earlier, it was supposed to release in November of last year, but because of the strikes, they pushed it to March of this year. Now, Dune Part 2 is directed by Denis Villeneuve, and it has a star-studded cast. If you've seen the first Dune, you know Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Florence Pugh, and Austin Butler are new to the cast. There's also Christopher Walken, Josh Brolin, Rebecca Ferguson, Javier Bardem, Dave Bautista, Stellan Skarsgård, Lea Seydoux, and so many more great actors and actresses. Now, I'm a big fan of the Dune universe. I'm a big fan of the books by Frank Herbert and that whole world that he built. And when the first teaser trailer came out last summer, I made a short kind of reviewing and recapping the trailer, and that is one of my most viewed videos on the channel, either short or video. Anything I've ever made is the most viewed. It still gets, hundreds of views every week and a couple comments as well. I still get. I don't know why so many people liked it. It was funny. You can go watch it and see it. I did make an effort to kind of, throw some jokes in there. But still, it is my most viewed anything I've made on the channel. But yeah, as a big Dune fan, I've been looking forward to part two for a while. And I was really upset when it got pushed back because of the strike. So I'm really excited to see it here in about a month or so. And one of the things that I am looking forward to the most in this movie is Christopher Walken as the Padishah Emperor Shaddam Corino IV. Now, the casting of Christopher Walken was kind of a point of contention amongst the Dune fan base. I was one of the people that was kind of like, I don't really know about Christopher Walken as the Emperor. But because he's kind of become a meme of himself. He's a good actor, but he kind of just because of his cadence, the way that he talks, everybody has a Christopher Walken accent. We're going down to the place, and we're gonna go down to Dune. Everybody's got a Christopher Walken impression. That one wasn't that great, but so he's kind of become a meme of himself. But once we finally got to see him in the latest trailers. All my fears kind of got washed away. I'm really excited to see his take on the Emperor Shaddam Corino IV. Another thing that I am looking forward to seeing is more of Zendaya, Javier Bardem, and the rest of the Fremen. Now, uh, Denis Villeneuve said that this part two has a lot more action and it's going to have a lot more of the Fremen. And obviously, we see that in the trailer with Paul, amongst the Fremen and kind of integrating into the Fremen. He's kind of, struggling with becoming the Lisan al Gaib, the voice from the outer world. And you see Javier Bardem kind of slowly Javier Bardem, he didn't believe at first, but we kind of see in the trailer, at least from what they show, he is believing the myths that the Bene Gesserit have sown into the Fremen over many, many years. That that the Lisan al Gaib, is going to be is Paul. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing more of the Fremen and more of, which means, more of Zendaya and Javier Bardem as well. We get to see a lot of that in the trailer. We get to see Paul, riding a sandworm, which is going to be awesome. And we also are going to see Austin Butler as Fade Routha. And he looks menacing. He looks insane. I can already tell that he's going to give a phenomenal performance. Austin Butler is a great actor. And so he's gonna. Already know he's gonna give a great performance. And like I said, I'm really excited for this movie as a Dune fan. I'm really looking forward to it. And we are supposed to be getting a part three, maybe with Dune. That's gonna be focused on the Dune Messiah book. So that's gonna be interesting as well. And I could watch like a 5 hour cut and sit through the whole thing with no bathroom breaks. I am really excited for this movie, and I cannot wait for Dune Part 2. The next movie on my list is one you probably haven't heard of, but it looks and sounds really interesting. It is Mickey 17. Now, Mickey 17 is set to release March 29th, and it's directed by Bong Joon-ho, who directed the Parasite movie, which won every single Oscar back in 2020. That thing cleared up the Oscars, and it is starring Robert Pattinson, who has done a really great job, in my opinion, of turning his career around after Twilight. He's a legitimate Oscar contending actor, in my opinion. I think he's going to win one day. And who knows, maybe this movie will get it for him because Bong Joon Ho does a really great job directing movies. And like I said before, Parasite won every single Oscar. So who knows, maybe Robert Pattinson, this will get him in contention for one. But if you don't believe Robert Pattinson's a great actor, if you still think he has that Twilight stink on him, go watch some of his past movies after Twilight. The Lighthouse is a really great one by A24. And, he was most recently in The Batman, which I thought he did a really great job as Batman. He's one of the better Batman, in my opinion. And I'm really looking forward to that whole universe with Robert Pattinson. But like I said, we don't have a lot of information on this movie. The synopsis reads: a disposable employee is sent on a human expedition to colonize the ice world of Nilfheim. After one iteration dies, a new body is regenerated with most of his memories intact. So that's all we got. And there was also about a 40-second teaser trailer that they released a while ago that only shows Robert Pattinson waking up in some sort of machine. So yeah, we don't have a lot of information on this movie, but it does sound and look really interesting. And I'm a big sci-fi guy. I'm a big Star Wars fan, Dune fan, classic sci-fi, Isaac Asimov and all that. So this concept sounds really interesting, and it actually sounds a lot like a video game that came out a while back called Soma. It features a character whose brain gets scanned and then uploaded into another person's body without their knowledge. So they're kind of going around. They think that they're, you know, alive, but their old body is dead, and their brain's been scanned into a new body. And then I won't spoil the game. If you don't know, if you're not familiar with Soma, and you don't want to play the whole game, go watch like a video essay on Soma. There's plenty of them on the internet. It's a fascinating game. A lot of thought experiments that you can do with the story of that game. But this movie seems a lot like the game Soma, so that's one reason why I'm really interested in it. But again, I'll watch anything that Robert Pattinson is in. He's really turned his career around, and he's a great actor in my opinion. He, like I said, he might. It's possible he could get an Oscar. I think he definitely will get one in the future. Don't know if this will get it for him, but I think he's on pace in his career to get one eventually. And Bong Joon Ho as well. I'll watch any movie he puts out. Parasite was a great movie. And you know, because of Parasites, this movie will probably have that kind of creepy but philosophical, you know, thought experiment sort of vibe to it. So I'm definitely looking forward to this one because of those two specifically. Next on my list, we have Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, which is set to release May 24th. Now, this movie is directed by George Miller, who created the Mad Max franchise, and it stars Anya Taylor-Joy as the titular Furiosa. She's going to be playing the younger version of Charlize Theron's character from Mad Max Fury Road. So this is sort of a prequel to Mad Max Fury Road. Now, this movie has a lot to live up to for me personally because I still remember the experience I had watching Mad Max Fury Road in IMAX in the theaters. I went into it completely blind. I had never seen a Mad Max movie before. I had no clue what this whole universe was or anything about it. And I went to watch the movie in IMAX for the first time, and it blew my mind. It was so crazy, but so good. I think I saw it like 3 times in IMAX when it came out. That's how good it was. It's one of my favorite IMAX movie experiences. I have it up there with Interstellar, Avengers Endgame, and now Oppenheimer. That's a great IMAX movie as well. Those are like my favorite IMAX movie experiences, and I have Mad Max Fury Road right up there with those. It's a really great movie. So this movie has a lot to live up to. But Anya Taylor Joy is a great actress. I think she's going to do a good job. And we're also getting Chris Hemsworth in this movie. We don't know what character he's playing, but at least from the trailers, he does look like he's having a lot of fun. And when an actor is when you know when you can tell an actor's having a lot of fun in a role, especially one like Chris Hemsworth, the movie is just so much better. So I'm really looking forward to this movie and the portrayals of Anya Taylor Joy as Furiosa and Chris Hemsworth in this mystery role. And I'm really hoping they stick the landing because Mad Max Fury Road was such a great movie. Next up is probably my second most anticipated movie of the year after Dune Part 2. That is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Now, this movie was originally set to release May 24th, which is the same day as Furiosa Mad Max Saga, but they recently pushed the release date up to May 10th, which I think was a good idea because these movies are going to tear each other apart in the box office, especially if they were released on the same day. I think Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is going to do a lot more money than Furiosa, unless Furiosa is just a really great movie like the first Mad Max. Then there could be a bit of a competition. I think they might have been trying to go for the Barbenheimer thing, where both of the movies are released on the same day and it becomes a meme and people go out to see them both on the same day. But that was kind of an organic thing created by the internet. That wasn't something that was pushed by the production companies. It did eventually, of course, get picked up by them and pushed, but originally it started out by the internet, as a joke. So this it would not have worked like Barbenheimer. So I'm glad that they moved the release date for this up a couple weeks before Furiosa, so they don't, destroy each other too much. But this movie, the Planet of the Apes franchise, has a special place in my heart as a movie fan because it is one of the first movies that I saw in the theaters by myself. I am the oldest of 7 kids, and growing up, we weren't rich. We didn't have a ton of movies, so the movies wasn't something that we did a lot growing up. I could probably count the amount of movies I seen as a kid in the theater on my hand. We usually saw them much later when they came out for VCR or DVD, or they'd be on the TV. But when I turned 16 and I got my first real job, with money in a bank account where I was getting direct deposit, I went to go. One of the first movies that I saw in the theater by myself was Rise of the Planet of the Apes. That was back in 2011, when I was 16, like I said. So this movie and the franchise as a whole kind of has a special place in my heart as a movie fan. Ever since then, I've been seeing movies, you know, every week almost, or at least as long as I can when I can make it out. So I really and I really enjoy the Planet of the Apes franchise as a whole. I think every movie is really good, and this is one of those franchises where all the movies hit. They're all really good. So I'm very excited for Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I'm really excited to see what story they're going to tell with this descendant of Caesar 300 years after the events of the last Apes movie. And I think it's going to be really good. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the movie when it finally comes out. This next movie has me really intrigued to see what it's going to be. That is Ballerina, which is set to release June 7th. Now, Ballerina is a spin off of the John Wick movies, and it's set between John Wick 3 and 4. The movie is directed by Len Wiseman, and it stars Ana de Armas as the titular character, who is a ballerina and assassin in the John Wick universe. Now, it is going to feature some regulars from the John Wick movies, such as Ian McShane, Angelica Houston, and of course, the late Lance Riddick, who I believe this is his last role before he passed. Now, I'm very interested, like I said, to see what this movie is going to be. I love the John Wick universe and the movies, but the movie isn't directed by Chad Stahelski, who directed the previous four John Wick movies. And John Wick, if you've watched the movies, they have a very distinct style and feel to them, which makes the John Wick movies work so well. And of course, that is largely because of the direction of the movies, as well as Keanu Reeves, who we don't know if he's going to be in the movie or not. He might be, but as of now, we don't know if he is or not. Now he is Chad Stahelski, who directed the previous John Wick movies, is listed as a producer. So hopefully he did have some input in the movie, and I'm sure he did because it's kind of his world that he created. But regardless, I am a big fan of Ana de Armas. I think that every male is, but even past her looks, she is. I think she's a good actress. I liked her a lot in the first Knives Out movie. I went into that's another movie that I went into completely blind, and it stunned me. That was a really great movie as well. The first Knives Out movie. The second one's good too as well. But Ana de Armas, I think she's a really great actress as well. So I think she's gonna do a good job. And I am a big fan of the John Wick universe. I haven't seen the Continental series. I do need to watch that. But I'll watch anything John Wick. So I'm definitely looking forward to this and seeing what it's gonna be and if it kind of spins off into a whole new franchise. Next is the only animated film on my list, that is Pixar's Inside Out 2. Now, this is, of course, the sequel to the 2015 hit Inside Out, and it follows Riley as she becomes a teenager and is going through puberty. So, we're introduced to a few more new emotions, which are anxiety, fear, and disgust. Now, honestly, this is such a great idea for a sequel. You could probably tell two or three more movies following this format, because you could show when she becomes an adult and is married and has kids. You could show her older, going into career, or you could show her when she's older and kind of maybe having Alzheimer's or something like that. There's a lot of interesting stories you could tell using this format, if they're written well. And the first Inside Out was really good, so they do have a good track record. The only thing that gives me pause is that Pixar doesn't have the greatest track record for sequels. Not a lot of Pixar sequels are that great. But hopefully, this turns out to be a Toy Story 2, not a Cars 2. Now, I did just say that Inside Out 2 was the only animated film on my list. Does this next one count as an animated film? I don't think so, even though it's mostly CGI. It is Mufasa the Lion King. Now, Mufasa the Lion King is set to release December 20th, and it's directed by Barry Jenkins, who directed the Oscar-winning film Moonlight. This movie, it is technically a prequel to the 2019 live-action remake, live action because it's not really live action, it's all CGI, but the 2019 live-action remake of The Lion King by Jon Favreau. Now, that movie, I'm not the biggest fan of the 2019 remake. As far as Disney live-action remakes goes, I think it's one of the weaker ones, or maybe middle of the road. The movie looked amazing. Like the CGI of all the animals was great. The set pieces were amazing looking. It all looked really good. But I think that the animations of the animals in their faces, they kind of were a little bit too realistic. So it kind of felt more like an uncanny valley sort of thing. And even though they stuck to the story pretty well of the animated Lion King, it did feel like it dragged on at points. The movie, which might be a directorial thing. Which Barry Jenkins is an Oscar award-winning director, so hopefully, he'll tighten it up a little bit in that area. But yeah, I'm hoping that this is better than the first movie, which it looked great, but was not that great plot wise. So I think that because this is going to be an original story, maybe they'll have a lot more freedom and not have to be constricted so much to the animated Lion King. So hopefully this will be really good. I'm really interested to see what kind of story they're going to tell with Mufasa here. And the last movie on my list is Nosferatu. Nosferatu is set to release on Christmas, December 25th, and it's directed by Robert Eggers. Now, the main reason I'm looking forward to this movie is the star-studded cast. There are some really great actors and actresses in this movie, and under the direction of Robert Eggers, I think it's going to be amazing. It stars Bill Skarsgård as the vampire Count Orlok. Also, Lily Rose Depp, who is the daughter of Johnny Depp, obviously. Nicholas Hoult, who is a fantastic actor. He was recently cast as Lex Luthor in the DC Universe, so I'm really looking forward to that. We also have Emma Corrin. The great Willem Dafoe is in this movie. Aaron Taylor Johnson is in this movie. Simon McBurney. So many more. So really great cast. And if you watch The Northman, you know that Robert Eggers is really great at telling these kind of darker, grittier, more personal stories about characters. So I think it's going to be a lot different than your run of the mill, vampire, Nosferatu, Dracula type story. I'm really interested to see the take that Robert Eggers has on the classic vampire story, and I think it's going to be a really great experience. So that is my most anticipated movies of 2024. I definitely left off a few movies, but I left them off because I'm not looking forward to them as much as I am these ones. So let me know down in the comments what movies I left off that you're most looking forward to. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more comic book and pop culture talk, and I will see y'all another day.